to my Ordinary Angels podcast. This is a first. We are filming this live today. We have a live studio audience. Make some noise. Hello. Fantastic to have you all here. We are currently in Tamworth at the 2018 Country Music Festival. And as organised many, many months ago, because I was very excited to have my special guest for this first live filming, would you please welcome Felicity Urquhart.
Thank you. Hello.
Just
Thanks
awesome.
for asking.
Oh, well, it was great. Dave said, who do you want? No, I said Felicity first. We'll start there, and so grateful that you're able to fit us in, because I know you've...
I know your ploy. It's because you know a lot about me and we spent a lot of time together.
Yes.
That I probably will forget that there are other people here, because whenever I'm with Merelyn, I learn so much, and it's like you have this ability to just open people's hearts and minds, and we just spill everything out to you. So
excellent.
Because you put truth serum in that, I know.
Oh yes, we're looking for some, some interesting facts that we might not hear otherwise.
Right. Yes.
So let's just recap or start with, we met probably, I think we were just discussing maybe 20 years ago when I came to that tour that you were doing, you, Darren Coggan, Adam Harvey and Becky Cole.
Young Stars of Country.
Yes.
Wow, I mean, we were so young and green, and it was the start of touring in a big way for us, and we didn't make any money out of those days, but it was a great opportunity.
Not much has changed.
No, well, I think we got smarter. We're all smarter about how understanding where funds go and what things are worth and all of that, and taking charge of our own careers. So we're all much better at that. And
so we can make a living and keep doing what we want to do.
Absolutely. And I'm really proud of all my buddies from the Young Stars. We're all still in the industry, and I think making quite successful livings, and we're all very diverse.
Yes.
And we've all managed to do other things as well. I mean, Darren's had a stage musical, a theatre career as well as, and TV, and Becky, and now the entrepreneur, and the other side of touring that she's created as well. And Adam, we're all just kicking goals. So it's been great from those Young Stars days to be still here now, having a career and seeing things change, and now being a parent and husband, and still very much having music the main part of my life.
Which is what we want to talk to you about today, because we were there and it was a little country pub somewhere in Victoria, up in the hills, maybe Emerald or somewhere like that. I can't remember. Clematis maybe, some tiny little pub. And Dave and I were just thinking about getting into country music. We were doing the corporate thing, and we went and we saw you guys, and we went, hey, this is cool. We're going to pursue this. So the years went by, and we got into the country music industry as well, and we've toured heaps over the years. I just want to bring up a couple of little moments. Are you ready? I'm a bit scared.
I don't know.
So the first one was a funny one. I don't know where we were, but it was somewhere in New South Wales, and we were on a big tour. Both of these happened on one of those big tours where there was multiple artists.
Yes, I'm scared.
And we had many, 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 many weeks and months on the road.
With the big tour.
Yes,
8 weeks.
A couple of big tours that we did. Yeah, one around New South, all around Australia, and then we went to WA. So the first ones, we were walking on a beach somewhere, and it was our first tour together. Yeah. And you were in between David and I, and we were just strolling along, and you started laughing. I don't know if you remember, but you said, it's funny. And we said, what's going on? You said, people just keep asking me that, I'm on tour with Carter and Carter, and do you preach? That's right. I do believe that. What?
That is true. Yes. Now that you remind me that's right. And I would have just said that, because people just have no idea.
Yeah.
And people, that's opinions. We all have an opinion and ideas, and we think we know people, or people surmise about what they think about
and
all of us.
I think I said, are we preaching?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, good. And
and that's probably why I was laughing.
Yeah, because we must have been telling a joke or something, I don't know, but it was funny. And it's interesting how we do have preconceived ideas about people who are a bit more in the public eye.
Yep.
Getting around to what people think of you and how that's affected you over your career.
I've got a classic the other day. This just happened here in town. I didn't hear it. This is hearing it secondhand. My uncle's at it.
Which is always a risky thing.
Well, yes, but he is a beautiful soul, and he's at a gig and was there to watch my husband and his band in The Faceless Man, and they were setting up, and then another fellow was there pulling a chair up and said, who's coming on next? And he said, it's a great band. all these amazing musicians. They play with all the top artists there, session musicians. They're called the Faceless Men. No, still don't know them. And he said, oh, well, he started rattling off names, and James Gillard, Steve Fernley, Brendan Radford and Glenn Hanna. And he go, nope, they don't play in Newcastle. And he said, well, you might know, like, Glenn is married to Felicity. And then he said, oh, she's the worst of them. Oh! Got up and left.
Oh,
Well, so apparently I'm the worst of them. So you've started with the worst of them. But that just goes to show that and you just have to let that stuff go, and it's fun. Like, you've got to laugh about that stuff, because if you hang on to every little bit that you're the worst of what, and really, I mean,
you can't please everyone, can you? And we all have our own style, and that's really important. But a certain amount of resilience is required.
Yes.
In life generally, but particularly if you're doing something in the public eye, because everybody wants to have an opinion, right?
You put yourself out there.
Yeah. You have to become very vulnerable. The other little scenario I want to remind you was several years after that.
This is scary.
Yeah. This is they're all going to go, what? You did that, girls?
What did I do? Did
well,
you do it?
We did it together. We did it together. So we were far northwestern Australia on another tour.
Yes.
I think it was at Carnarvon or somewhere on the beach.
Yeah.
And you and I
like
decided,
the beach, don't we?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
You and I decided we would go for a swim.
Yes.
So we stripped off. We weren't skinny dipping, but we weren't prepared for swimming. But Dave was there, and we kind of went, right, we're just going to.
We don't worry so much about Dave.
No, Dave. We had our granny undies on, so it was all right. So we go to have this swim, far north.
Hang on, that was before I had children, and they weren't that granny, were they?
Oh, well, I might have had mine on. And we swam, and there was blokes working, right? And they're kind of calling out to us, and we're like, oh, okay, it's great. We still got it.
Yes,
we still got it. And then we get out of the water after having swim and turn the radio on in the car on the way back.
Yeah.
And there was a 5-metre croc.
That's right.
40 metres offshore from where we were, right in the place.
Probably telling us to get out of the water. You stupid girls.
I was lying in bed this morning thinking about that, going, we could have been, dumb girl tourist taken by crocs. When will they learn?
But then we might have sold a whole lot of albums.
What's the word for that? Posthumously or something?
Posthumously. If you say it quickly.
Yeah, something like that. So I wanted really to talk today because the whole idea of the blog overarching banner, I think there's two for me. One is that as ordinary people, we can inspire other people to do amazing things. And the other thing is that in life we require resilience and a change of perspective very often.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to just hear a little bit, just to feel most people know where you've come from, but you are a local Tamworth girl.
Yeah.
Dad's just here a minute ago.
Yeah.
And, we are the country music capital of Australia, and your career has been largely in country music.
Yes.
But you have branched out. Just tell us a little bit, just recap your journey, because you started really young.
Young, busking like my daughters.
Yeah, who's
they're younger, 6 and 4, the girls. And I started when I was 11. 2 with my cousins, just like the girls, and they were a bit younger. And I just loved country music. Mum and Dad would take us to all the shows, and I'd line up for autographs after. And then I'd see the buskers, and I'd say, I want to do that, Mum, I could do that. And she'd, I put the money in, and come on. And then I would pretend at home I was a radio announcer, and I was the artist, and I'd shut the bedroom door, put a sign on the door, and say, I'm recording, and I'd be Dolly Parton, and I'd sing the song, and then I'd back announce, that was Dolly Parton. And because we listened to country radio, we had hoedown, we had records, and in Dad's truck, my dad was an upholsterer, now retired, but he would have country albums. It was always country music. And then, though, throughout the year, the musicals that would be put on by the local musical productions, the theatre company, we'd go along to that. And any touring artist that kids could go to, Mum and Dad would take us to that. If it was a classical pianist visiting town, we'd go along to that concert. And it was lovely. So then we started having piano lessons, and then we were really tapped into anything to do with music, and then sport as well. We were very much about a very typical country town family.
What was your sport?
Sport, we did netball, hockey, tennis. Tennis was the number one,
right.
But we had a netball court in the backyard. And
Right.
my mum was the netball coach.
Right.
And Dad had to put the sump oil down, that was the court. A beautiful little primary school that I went to did our early days, Timbumburo Primary, and that's when I first sang in the choir, and a teacher said, "You've got a nice voice, you should have a little solo," and I did, and then my piano teacher heard I could sing, and next thing you know, I'm singing in the Eisteddfod, and it wasn't until an uncle came down to the festival from Queensland with his guitar and came out home and played guitar, and I said, "Could you show me some chords?" And I saved $100 working in Dad's workshop and bought an acoustic guitar. It was a classical guitar. It was the wrong sort of guitar to start. It was a big fat neck, but nonetheless...
I had a 12-string. It was my first guitar at 12. Stupid, right? We wouldn't do that now with our kids.
No.
Yeah.
So we both had a rough, awkward start around that big clunky neck.
Yeah.
And that was it, though. I started and had a few tunes, Slim Dusty tunes. I remember writing the lyrics out and hitting pause on the cassette player to write it out and work. I only had 3 chords. And then went busking with my cousins, and that's how I started. Did some talent quests in Tamworth. Then I was seen by local Hadley Records, asked to come into the studio and sing, and I did, and had a record deal when I was 15. And next thing you know, I'm singing on shows with Lawsy. I remember John Laws ringing up Mum and Dad's, and Mum goes, "John Law's on the phone for you." And I went, "Oh, who's John Laws?"
Who's that old dude?
I was a kid, but Mum's like, "John Laws," and I'm like, "Hello," and he wanted me to sing with him live on radio,
right?
And had Slim Dusty, John Williamson, Pixie Jenkins, and this kid from Tamworth.
Yeah, right.
And next thing you know, I ended up with a record deal with EMI because of EMI being there, seeing. They were all signed to EMI, so they liked, I guess, my just have a go kind of attitude. And I sang with Lawsy, and I remember he wanted to do Sweet Dreams, a Patsy Cline song, and I remember sitting up. I'd been doing gigs at the festival and sitting at Mum and Dad's piano going, "I wonder what key John Laws would sing in." He's got a bit deep voice, and I'm thinking, "Sweet Dreams." I'd probably do it down there. So I'm thinking, "Oh, how could I do that?" Oh well, I just went in as prepared as I could be because I'd learnt that.
How old were you at this stage?
I was probably late teens, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And just thought, well, go in prepared, and we sang it.
Yeah.
And I was as nervous as could be, but out of that got a deal, and EMI, that was a whole other box and dice, and wow, that was a whole experience of lots of money being thrown at a campaign and
good old days.
Yeah, not knowing though that you were still responsible for that money. Every cent that was spent was still going on the Felicity bill that I would be actually I'd have to recoup before I saw any money out of any sales. So you learn fast, and I guess I was young enough to then, I've recovered quite well.
Post-traumatic stress. you worked through that.
But I did go through a dark patch then, so I had this deal, and everything kicking goals, and wow, this is happening. Then Young Stars touring, that all followed through that. So I had albums.
That all kind of fell in your lap, really? You were working hard and doing your thing, but you didn't pursue all those things?
Not making those calls myself.
No.
When you've got record company and then people going, "Oh, this is the one we've got to push now," and record company people making calls on your behalf. I didn't have a manager so much at that point. Mum was just sort of the one, and Mum and Dad would try and work out contracts.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, this seems okay. Are you happy, Fliss? And I'd go, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And they did see some legal advice, but it's quite innocent.
Yes.
Anyway, so after that, and the contract, a couple of albums, and then I did a Western Swing album that was very stylised, and EMI were kind of like, "Whoa, what do we do with this?" Yeah,
because you had that kind of cartoony thing on the front, didn't you? It wasn't a photo of you, it was a caricature type thing.
And it was more about the style of the music.
Quite radical too, wasn't it?
From something that was kind of more commercial and poppy country, you would say, I guess.
Yeah.
They need to tag everything with put it in a box.
Kind of made sense for the blonde teenage girl from Tamworth.
That sound, and then I was working with the swing band and loving that, and we went, how about a swing album, Western Swing, and obviously the record company just didn't know what to do with it. And
shame, because it was a great album.
It's a really good album. We're still really proud of it, but I think before its time or something, or I didn't have enough runs on the board to then go and do that.
Yeah, or they just couldn't get their head around the change. Yeah.
And then I lost the deal, and then I was, pretty upset and a bit lost, going, oh, that's it. I'm bad. I'm going to give this away. I should go and become a park ranger.
You'd be surprised how many musicians actually want to be park rangers.
I've never really had the conversation.
Oh, I have, because that's what I would love to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
And I could know, if I could think about who it was, if I got my filing cabinet out, I could probably name 5 or 6 other girl musicians
that
who would
wanted
go.
to do it.
If I wasn't doing music, I'd go be a park ranger.
When I was young, I used to think that it was being outdoors all the time. But apparently it's not. Apparently there's a lot of administration.
That put me off being a vet nurse too, when I found out I had to go to Perth for 7 years back in the day to study to be a vet nurse. I won't stuff that. I'll just buy a farm down the track. Hence.
You've done that.
And I've done that. So you went through this dark time, and we were all witness to that.
I know.
Because it was, it seemed like the dream ride for Felicity from...
Oh, that lucky girl.
That lucky girl. Everything was, and not that you weren't talented, obviously extremely talented, and we're not anywhere along this line questioning any of that. But that doesn't always follow, does it, for opportunities? And we see that in the industry today. There are extremely talented people who will never get the business head on or never have those opportunities. So let's hear a little bit more about that, but I want to come back to how you see this journey. Is it fate? Is it destiny? Is it something that you feel like you've had control over,
No control. It's a good thing, though, because you need to have... We all have. Everybody here has had speed humps or roundabouts, some larger than others, some little ones you just go, oh, I didn't really know that was a roundabout back there.
Yeah, some ginormous potholes.
And some really big potholes that leave you pulling over to the side of the road and having to change. And so...
Rocking in the corner.
That was a change of tyre scenario when I felt, no one loves me. Oh, and it's so...
Totally not the case.
But it's bizarre. But that's what you feel like, and that's the whole artist thing and female. And so I'm so glad I have had that. And there'll be more things to come, no doubt. But I feel that there's my bag, and it was giving me more tools to manage life and then manage children and manage marriage a bit. Did you like how I said a bit? But you manage all that stuff. It gives you the tools for the bag of life that you go, okay, well, I can also share that when I work with other young artists and say, don't worry about that. That's just a thing. We're going to work through that. And here's the picture over here, and this is you, and let's stay true to you. And just if you know who you are as a person, then you can manage to sort of buff off the stuff that might be a bit tacky, like I'm the worst thing that my uncle heard the other day. I laugh and I go, well, it's okay.
Yeah.
That it's going to buff off.
It's hard when you're young. Dave and I were playing at a wedding once as Carter and Carter, and it was outback Queensland somewhere, and we'd put a lot of effort to get there, right? And they wanted the whole Carter and Carter thing. So we had a big banner up, and we were standing there, had a Bain Marie, and we were in line with everybody else to get a dinner for the wedding. Real country, wedding. Anyway, a bloke came up, and sometimes they just don't know what to say to you because you're the one up the front, and some people are a bit scared to come up and chat. And I remember he comes up and he looks at the banner and he looks at me and he goes, put a lot of weight on since then, haven't you? And I went, I don't think so. Hang on. I'm not sure where the weight is,
So rude.
And I thought, I'm going to get a bit offended, but I won't get offended. He goes, I don't like your haircut now either. It was much better then.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, come on. And so you just smile through the whole thing, don't you? And afterwards you go, I remember if I got fat, what's my hair look like? Until you turn what? I don't know, 40-something for me. Yeah. And then I go, okay, I actually get that they don't know what to say. Hopefully he went home and went, I said that. No, I shouldn't have said that.
No, he wouldn't. No.
Maybe they don't.
I fully believe they don't. And just on the, people coming up and saying odd things and things totally out of line. What workplace is allowed anyone to go up to them and say, you are you this or that, Why in
Imagine
the world
the lawsuit.
I know.
That was in a corporate
show
situation.
business, artistry, we're allowed to comment. I mean, you go to an art gallery and look at things and go, oh, no, I don't like that. Don't see what they're doing there. Oh, that's a painting there. I want that on my wall. Yeah. And that's exactly the same, I guess. Yeah. We're putting ourselves out there and However, you would just think sometimes people should
Yes.
zip it, lock it, put it in your pocket. I learned that off J. O'Shea. And
Yes.
I just think, like Mum would say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
My mum would say that too, and I've tried to live by that motto. And sometimes I
know,
get home and go, I'm the one who gets home and go, did I say that? Oh no! How am I going to?
You're only saying it to me.
So keep on the journey. I want to come back and ask some more questions about that, because that is resilience.
Well, it was really good for me, because then after my sister going, come on, get off the couch and go out and do this. Okay, I would, sad, sorry me. Then I started to write songs. And prior to this period, I was dabbling in songwriting. But with the record company, you'd see the shift yourselves as lovers of music, that nowadays the focus is much more on singer-songwriters and writing your own material. Back 20 years, it was more about going to a publisher, and record companies going to publishers as well. We've got this new act. We want songs like this. What have you got? Send us your best. So I would be given all these songs and not necessarily choosing them myself. It was, you'll be putting this one on the album. It's like, oh, okay, well, the boss of the record company thinks I should do that. I'm going to keep this deal. I'll record that song.
Right.
And now it's like, well, what do I want to do? What have I written for my album? And it's just a whole different concept. And you'll see that at the awards again this year. There'll be singer-songwriters winning the awards.
And we've got so much. I noticed last year at the Golden Guitars there were so many songs about life. Yeah. We actually really are in a very good place for that, for songwriters in Australia.
Yeah.
Because it's part of our culture, isn't it? We want to share our culture with future generations, and songwriting is a great way to do that.
To do it.
But again, we have to be vulnerable, don't we? Because people either like what we're talking about or they don't. And I found that sometimes songs are very challenging for people, and that can have an adverse reaction.
Yeah, both, but I always think, well, you know, it's 4 minutes or it's 3 minutes of whatever.
Yeah.
Or if it's an epic, 8 minutes.
yeah.
But it's just, you know, there's another track from that artist, or there's another part, and it's just another emotion that artist had to share. And so
Yes.
all the albums that I get now working in radio, which is the other part of my career now, I haven't got to how I got there yet,
No.
but it's very difficult
We might need 4 hours for this interview.
well,
We haven't got that.
You lead and I'll go there. But that is where I get all these albums, and they'll pick a single that we play, that they'd like played.
Yeah.
So you try to focus on that, because as the greater good, if all the songs, their singles have been played, then their profile lifts, and for the genre and the industry, it's better if that happens. But then I'll still have favourite tracks off the album that maybe they didn't think might be a single, but there's a really great message in this song.
Yeah.
Or wow, this will suit our audience well. And I can imagine someone sitting at home, tuned in to the program. Now this would be a perfect moment to play that song after this chat or whatever. So the ebb and flow, and we're all emotional beings, and we want to feel all those different things. Sometimes we do just want to get up and dance, and other times we want to just hear some great guitar picking or a beautiful dobro solo. And well, that's what I like. And I know it's not about just my personal taste, but I try to also tap into the people that I meet and the feedback we get.
And at what point in this part of your life did a certain Russell Crowe come into the picture?
Russell.
I told them before that I was allowed to ask you about this.
Yeah. I worked for Russell at a Christmas party. Russell has really great Christmas parties at around in Nana Glen near beautiful Coffs Harbour. And
Was he super famous at this time?
Yes, he's super famous.
Yep.
And
so we're talking beautiful mind
time? We're talking Gladiator, off the back of Gladiator time.
Yep.
Look, I mean, I'm really bad with dates and time. You're really good, so I can be a bit fudgy. It was around Proof of Life as well, around that.
Right.
I like that little piano.
That was nice. So that's our house band.
Yeah. And anyway, so I went over and did the Christmas concert played. And
so did you know him personally?
But at the time, I had just broken up with a partner that was a footballer, and he knew Russell.
Yes, because he was a famous footballer.
Yeah, and Russell was...
you went for the famous ones.
Well, I didn't really.
Right.
I'm not about that. It was just, things just happen.
Yeah.
And, anyway, so I was asked, and Russell being a Souths man, one of there was a period where my former boyfriend had played for South. So he'd obviously followed the relationship story, and I then was asked out there, and when he came up to say g'day, he's like, hey, nice to meet you, I'd heard about the breakup. I'm like, oh, thanks, that's really sweet, thanks so much. Here, come and have a great time and enjoy the party. And Mum and Dad, they love country music, his parents.
High profile breakups, that's got to be fun.
So, well, this party was fun,
right,
indeed.
Okay.
And I remember I had driven over from Tamworth to Coffs at the time. I don't know if I think I was still living in Sydney, but I'd come over home and said, Mum, you want to come on over? And she was my chauffeur, we just hang out together. And she came over and I said, I've got this gig for Russell. So we came over and stayed at this lovely, little place, and then I went out to the property, or picked up to go to the property, and then I said, I've got my mum here, and he said, well, bring her out. Come back tomorrow and bring Mum out. So I'm like, Mum, Russell wants to meet you. So I bring Mum out, and I remember I'm going, hello, Mr. Crowe. I think it's like, Mum, let go. And it was really fun, and yes, she was all very excited. And it's lovely that then after that, all that excitement.
Because we're talking to Hollywood big stuff.
Yeah, and there were a lot of famous faces, and I remember just very much like this, singing around near the piano and playing some country tunes, and looking at a lot of celebrities in the house, but just all the while thinking, well, I'm here to sing for Russell's mum and dad. They love country music, and that was really nice. And then I got invited
Good perspective,
back.
Otherwise you might have freaked out, right?
Well, there was probably a bit of freaking out.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yes. But also excitement. I thought, oh, well, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And then I was asked to come back to sing, I think it was when I was about to put my hands in cement for the Hands of Fame.
Yeah,
and I remember Russell, he rang me one day and said, hey, and I went, hello, g'day. And then I said, who's that? Yeah, it's Russell. And I went, He said, what are you doing? I go, as a matter of fact, I'm putting the groceries away. And he said he wanted me to come back and sing. And I said, I can't. I'm putting my hands in cement. It's a big deal. I've got the Hands of Fame thing. Yeah. So for a local kid to get that opportunity, he said, okay, well, I really want you to come over and sing for his local, the footy team. He'd got a big do on a big spread and a big celebration, and he said, what if I get a chopper and we fly you and the band over, fly you back to, and I went,
why not?
Okay.
Why not?
Well, so we did that, and it was pretty cool. The chopper came near Mum and Dad's. Me and the boys jumped on the chopper and we were like, bye, we'll see you back for the Hands of Fame thing, and flew over, did the gig, and we got out there like we were celebrities and sang the footy team, and then got back in. It was really great fun, and I'm sure he knew the excitement and hype that we also got out of that.
Yeah.
So, and then Russell came and sang at Tamworth too. We did a duet on the Golden Guitar Awards. Again, you probably want to know what year that was.
No, I remember that.
Do you?
Yeah, we were there.
Was that year?
Yeah, that year.
I remember I wore green and I had lots of hair. So it was a big year.
Yeah, and he was in a band at the time.
Yes, 30 odd foot of grunt.
That's right.
Tofol.
Yeah, right.
And they came and the boys played, but I had met them as well by that stage, and it was really fun.
And there was a certain motorbike incident.
I was on the back of a motorbike with Russell, yes. And it was we were
paparazzi
photographed, and it was in a magazine, and they put someone else's name there, and it was me and my aunties going, but that's Fliss.
It wasn't Michelle Pfeiffer either.
No, it wasn't Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right.
No, it was my Michelle Pfeiffer. No.
Yes.
But it was a whole lot of fun. Really great experience and fun. And
was there a bit of romance sort of in amongst that?
No.
Let me remind you, this is a Ordinary Angels authentic podcast.
What did you put in?
This is just soda water.
I'm feeling a little flushed.
Okay, say no more.
He
I
was
think
the Gladiator.
That's right. So, girls, I'm thinking it's a yes. And
I don't kiss and tell.
No, okay, good.
So I'm not saying I did anything.
Right. Okay. All right.
I jumped on the back of the bike and I held on, ladies.
Fantastic.
And I did think for a moment, well, I'm actually
holding Russell Crowe.
And I don't want to fall. Mum would want me to hold on tight.
Of course.
There's a big black cloud following me around, and it keeps on bringing me down. This old big black cloud, this darkened day, turn my happiness to gray.
Black Cloud came out of that.
Yes.
Let's get back to that devastating experience and how you've come out of that. And really, from where we're sitting, thankfully,
Yeah.
who knows what your journey would have been anyway, but your authenticity and your honesty shone through, and you became who you were meant to be.
Yeah.
Before that, you were a
Better
young
for it.
girl, and
Yeah.
and we all have those moments in life, don't we, that are defining moments. Was that a defining moment?
Absolutely. Having people around that still believed in me, and that was that, circle of trust thing, that hand. You only need that many people that really know you and really believe in you and know you as a person and know the well-being side of it and know how you tick. And my partner, Glenn Hannah, is a beautiful musician and also capable of recording and producing, said, why don't we just record some things and just see what it sounds like? And we started dabbling around, and we did a little release, a little EP, and it had Turn Out the Light, and that was my goodbye to EMI. I might sit here and cry a bit, but I'm going to be okay. And that was the first song that, before Big Black Cloud, then came out, because then we upped the ante and went, okay, well, let's make an album, and that's when Big Black Cloud came out on the
That's
album.
right, I remember that. Yeah, fantastic.
So, it was a great thing, and it also gave Glenn, we had fun then working together and creatively, and we were young and excited and in love, and it was a beautiful, fun time, and we had nothing to prove, just let's do this.
Yeah.
At least we know the family will have it.
Yeah, good Christmas present. Yeah, my family have never bought any of our records because we just give them
I think I just gave them away.
Yeah, we give them to her for Christmas, So, and it's wonderful to talk to us about, because, as you know, David and I work together and married and, have that extended relationship. It's not for everyone.
No, and I understand why, because it can be really testing, because nobody pushes you or challenges you or wants the best for you than your partner that loves you to the end of the earth, and so we would be in the studio, and because we've recorded together since, and we don't songwrite so much together, but Glenn can go over things and go, no, that needs work. Whoa, what's with that bridge? Oh, wow, that's really good. That's great. And when I'm more nervous playing a song to Glenn than anybody, and that's because I want him to love it, because I still am that girl.
Yes.
I'm still, pick me in the crowd, come and ask me out. There's still that fun. I don't know if that's a weird thing to sort of say, but there's still that little flutter that you get, and I'm glad I have that flutter, and hope I never lose it, because that's part of the excitement and the joy of loving someone and being excited to be around them. So it's like, babe, I got this new song, heart flutter. Hope he likes it, and I still go on and go, just don't worry about the thing here, because I haven't really got that bit worked out yet, and I might just blah, 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 blah. Just sing the song instead. But still, I do that, and it's hilarious. But I've cried in the studio with Glenn. I don't know if Dave's made you cry, but I've been pushed.
Dave
to
makes
that
me
point.
cry all the time.
That's a good thing, though. I love.
Sometimes they're not good tears, but it's still you got to get it out
to get to
There's all
that.
sorts of tears.
Yes, I've had. I just want to. I've got to come out of this. Just
Please be quiet and just let me do my
sing it.
thing.
Yes. No, do it better. No, that's not. No, flat. No, pitchy. No, and I'll be like, I've got. I'm not in the moment yet. What am I trying to say? I'm not there yet.
Yes.
And he goes, well, come on, just do it.
Yeah. I love working with David, because they know you intimately, and so it's an opportunity, I guess, to be at your honest self through your songs. But do you find that at times when you've written that song and you've put your heart and soul into it, and then the person who knows you best in the whole world goes, hang on, what do you mean by that? Is that you don't really think that?
That's where you say,
that's not you.
I didn't write this about us, babe.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't tell Dave.
Right. Tip of the day. Thank you. How long have you been married?
we're really bad with time. I've told you that. Glenn and I even forget our anniversary. Often we'll get a text from our friends going, "Don't forget it's your anniversary."
Right.
Dates are not important.
Right.
We love each other. We had a beautiful wedding, all of that, and we remember our kids' birthdays.
Good.
And occasionally our own, but we're happy to let those
And the kids'
pass now.
names are good. You've got
We're
them
good.
down
We're
pat.
good. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, Felicity, I would like to talk now.
When you say Felicity, it's so formal. Can you just call me Fliss?
Okay.
Like
so
normal.
Fliss. So Fliss. Okay. Yep. So Fliss. I'd like to talk about now your transition from the single working artist into married life, into motherhood, into TV, into radio. The touring's still going. You are very inspiring to all of us because you look like from the outside you've hung that together really well. But we all know reality.
You know the duck?
Yeah.
There's that duck. And or I can juggle.
Yep.
Put any more than 3 balls and I'm a goner. And that's it. I've got music, radio, TV. So there's my 3 balls. Oh, beg your pardon. Family is number 1. That is that is everything. So I don't say yes to anything without family first considering, okay, is that going to work? What are the kids up to? Now we've got the youngest one starts school this year, and I'm not missing those first. I said no to some TV jobs because I said, no, I'm going to be there for the first few days of school, and that's priority. And there would be people that would give their right arm for 5 seconds on TV, but my family is far more important than having my mug on the idiot box, as they call it.
Yeah, right.
And so it's all come about through music and coming to Tamworth. Even though when I moved away, I would always come back to do Tamworth promotion, and that is what has led to every other part of my career. So I came back to talk about Tamworth with Sydney Weekender TV show, Channel 7, and I came home and met Mike Whitney, who's the host of the show, and they just said, can you talk about Tamworth and maybe have a bit of a busk and sing with Mike? I'm like, yeah, no worries. G'day, Mike. And we hit it off, and he's a great guy. Anyway, and so we did the job, and I'd finished. We had a bit of a sing, and I talked about Tamworth and stats on the festival and how great it is and what the festival's about, and then what it's like outside of festival time and to grow up here. And then job's done, finished, thanks, see you later. And they said, oh, why don't you come on out with the crew? We're going out for dinner tonight. And I said, oh, sorry, can't do that. My dad's making rissoles and I'm home for like 5 seconds. I'm really sorry, but I've done
bacon or lamb roast.
Well, it was dad's rissoles, and Mike to this day has not let me forget that. He goes, remember that time you sort of said, well, not stood them up, but said no.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I mean, I'm sure everyone knows that people are so hungry for jobs in TV and think they have to schmooze and play the game. And, and I didn't think I needed to go and be, laugh at their jokes or hang out and have dinner with them to try and get a job. I went about my business back to the coast, and then I get a call from the producer of the show and said they really liked what I did with Mike on camera and felt that was a lot of fun and there were some natural things. Would you like to work on the show? And I went, that'd be lovely.
Thanks. I'll talk to my agent and get back to you.
Next thing you know, I've got a regular gig on Sydney Weekend, and that's going 12, 13 years now.
But first up, Felicity gets a heads up.
It's the most important meal of the day, so when it comes to breakfast, you've got to go where the locals go. And there they go.
That's still all happening regularly.
Yeah, as I've just told you, I say no a lot because of other jobs and family, but they totally understand that. Right. And they're a family-orientated show.
Awesome.
So
and that's rare in show business.
It is.
Yeah.
And there's a lovely team that work on that show.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how I got Darren's on the show, Darren Coggan. They came along to one of Daz's shows and anyway, networking, and I'm like, yes, he's my mate. You might want to look at that. Anyway, the radio side of things.
Darren would be great too.
Darren's wonderful. It's all about talking to people and just enjoying other people's company and talking about great things that they do.
Yeah.
Radio came about when John Nutting first said to me if I'd like to come on Saturday Night Country on ABC, and John had run the show for 16, nearly 17 years.
Big shoes to fill too.
Well, I wasn't feeling that. In my head, when he first asked me, I was just going, because I was obviously didn't understand the weight of what he was actually proposing. I thought I was sitting in on a program with him to sit there for the duration of 4 hours and laugh, and we'll talk to some other guests and play music and talk country music.
The co-host thing.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
No worries. And then he said, right, my darling, you've got to go into Sydney. They need to hear you on air first. And I said, well, what about you? What do you mean? And he said, well, no, I'm going on holidays. You'll have the show. And I went, are you kidding? And he goes, you'll be fine. All you need to do is just for the little dummy run, they need to hear you just for half an hour. You need to get a couple of mates lined up for some interviews. Yeah. And so I did that and drove into Sydney thinking they're not going to pick me at all. And I got in there and I remember the producer and one of the bosses saying, okay, Felicity, just hop into the other side. This is 702. It's massive. It's a big studio in Sydney. And remember they said, just hop on the other side of the panel and we'll just stay back here and let's do it. And I went, okay. Now, John did tell you I don't know how to panel operate. And they looked at each other in horror and went, no, he didn't. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I knew, okay, it's all over. I'll be heading off and this will all be a bit of a fun exercise, and I've met some new people. And they said, don't worry, just hop in, we'll put the faders up, we'll put the calls through and let's just hear you anyway. So I proceeded to have my little chats with my mates that I knew. I'd lined up and we chatted, and I thanked them and left the building and said, again, sorry, I don't know how to panel operate. But it was fun, and they said, we'll let you know. I'm literally on the Harbour Bridge and they called me and said, you've got it. But what we need you to do is to learn how to panel operate, which is all the buttons and the faders and all the bizzo.
Just no big deal.
Well, when you look at it, it's like you go in there and it was like I was going to...
It's only the ABC studio. It's no big deal.
No big deal. For me, I thought I was going to fly a 747. And there's buttons and knobs and things. And the most brilliant producer helped me on my road, Dan Driscoll. I went into Sydney, I had to spend a couple of weeks of learning, and he was just always like, mate, it's just easy. You just worry about talking. We'll talk you through these things. Just be you and just relax. And every time I've done anything new, the TV and the radio, it's always been just be yourself.
Yeah.
Just be
And is it the
real
key, do you think, to your success? Because so many people would love to be doing what you do and work towards that, don't get the opportunity. You seem to, it's obviously your journey. Well, it's a natural, authentic journey for you.
I enjoy people. I enjoy company and talking.
I've never noticed that.
No. Never noticed.
I've never felt that from you.
No, at all. No. I have to work on it.
Good to know. Yeah. I'll help bring you out.
It's from my folks. My mum and dad are the kind of people, when we were kids going, and they took us to a few different festivals on school holiday trips.
Yeah.
Because I said they love country music, so we'd go to Port Pirie or we'd go to Gympie and Mildura, and so often, next thing you know, Mum and Dad are talking to someone, but Tamworth Festival time, they'd end up back at our place. I'm like, oh, hello, who's here? We've got Mum and Dad got chatting with them at a gig or at the bar, and it would just be, that's Mum and Dad. So we chat to people. It's part of my upbringing.
And bringing us back to that original thing you said earlier in the interview was that as a kid you practiced all these things. So you must have was it a sixth sense or no?
Oh, it was just I want to do it. It was that kid thing that you do, and I watch my girls do it, and you'd see your grandchildren do it, and your girls would have done it. That whole the imagination running wild, and there I was Dolly Parton, and I was also John Williamson, and I was Slim Dusty, and I was all these people, and I was everybody that I got an autograph for at their festival. I was a banjo picker, and I was a guitar player, and I wanted all these things.
I actually don't think everybody does that. I think that it's a real soul journey for people, and some people are able to do that, and some people aren't, because we can be scared, and we can make ourselves small. I think one of the things that you've really shown and inspired all of us is that even if you feel small, you don't keep yourself small. You allow yourself to be open.
That's, again, Miss Mum and Dad. They would always just say, oh, go on, mate. Have a go. Have a go.
Yeah.
And it's the best bit of advice. Yeah. We say that to our kids. And you will all really get this. a little one who you saw play the fiddle. She was at preschool, and wrapping up preschool, they had a little chat with the kids, and then asked them all what they wanted to do, and she wanted to be 5 things. She came home and said, "Mummy, they said you can only be one thing."
Oh.
And
No.
and because the fact was they were writing it on a nice little card, and they were taking photos and giving that to the parents as a keepsake.
Right.
But in her mind, and Mummy's and Daddy's too, there was plenty of room to write.
Yes, all the
5
different
things, not just doctor.
Yeah, right.
And that was lovely to see doctor on the list. However, she wants to be a violin player, she said back then, play and write songs, and she actually wants to be on radio. She wants to be on the TV and a doctor.
Yeah,
and a mum, and she wants to be a mum.
Yeah.
And so they're all those lovely things that I wanted to be too.
And so when she came home, did you let her write on the...
Oh, she just knows.
Yeah.
We just know. It was just like, we talk about it. And I'm not putting down the beautiful people that cared for it at preschool, and it was wonderful.
Yes.
But it's just the fact that...
But it is a defining moment when we think, hang on a minute, are we limiting just by our language?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fact that she was aware of, hey, Mum, I said I could be one thing. And when we've always talked about, well, what else and what else?
Yeah, and good for her to be able to come home and say, they said this, but I know that that's not right.
Yes.
And I can move through that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I thought we'd open it up now for a few questions, because our time, I know. When we organised this, we said we've got to keep eye on the time because we can.
That's your job. I don't have to think time today.
She's on the other foot, right? How funny is this? It's usually you doing the interview with us.
I don't have to worry.
So, would we have perhaps we'll just take 2 or 3 questions, keeping in mind you've got about 10 minutes to answer 2 or 3 questions.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah.
I've got one.
Oh,
yes.
Felicity, did you wake up in the middle of the night with something in your mind and the need to write it down about the song?
Yeah, there has been those moments, and I am such a lover of sleep. The problem is
I know that one,
getting out of bed to actually write it down. And I have paper and pen sometimes by my bed, other times it's reminder notes of what's happening the next day, because there might be so much. Unlike here, festival time, I have it written down there so I know when I jump out of bed. And if an idea comes and it keeps me awake, then I'll get up. But if it's just a random sort of, oh, wow, that's a really good idea. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I don't.
Have you written the best songs in your dreams, and then you wake up in the morning and you go, darn it?
Yeah, maybe my best.
Maybe that's illusion in a dream that it's the best, though, right? Because if you don't remember it,
it's gone.
Yeah.
And so it has
maybe
to...
not meant to be.
Yeah, let it go. But lately, I feel the tingle sensation of when I actually get something, just a smidgen of an idea, and then I get a little tingle. I go, oh. And now I'm saying it's the Carl Brody tingle. We lost our darling friend Carl Brody, and I just feel, okay, Carl, I feel like he sends it, or he's going, yeah, that's a good one. There's a bit of a little Carl inspiration. I feel that, I don't know why I do that, but I feel it comes like that, like a little sprinkle of
Hey, Carl, I'm here too.
But he will.
I could go for a bit of that Carl inspiration. He was amazing songwriter.
You just have to be there with the ready going, okay, I'm open, and then, and you'll get a little tingle. I kid you not.
I've got my mum and dad flicking me at the moment.
Oh, you got flicks.
Fantastic. And we had a question,
Yeah, years ago, I can remember going to the town hall. This was years ago.
Yeah.
You had a performance, and your sister was
Yes.
there. Can you tell us what your involvement with your sister? Because
she did, still does. I love my sister. I have one sister, and she's a little bit older than me.
40-something plus something.
We'll just leave it a tiny bit older than me. And she's an incredible inspiration. She is just from our childhood. We've been best buddies. She's a talented piano player, and then she learnt bass guitar. She used to teach kids here in Tamworth piano. And she was my pianist when I would sing at Stedford. That's when I first started singing, was with Beck playing piano. Rainbow Connection was a big hit when we started out when we were kids.
That's tricky though. Those chords are tricky.
Well, yeah, she had. I didn't have to think about that. Beck played.
Yeah, that's not an easy song to play.
No, and I used to sing it, and so her name's Rebecca, and so we used to do a few duets, and we'd sing, and she'd play bass then, and she sort of dabbled, did a few solos here and there, but it wasn't her main thing. She was really happy to sing harmonies, and then she started also kind of helping with management and helping other artists and doing PR, and she just was incredible, like booking people's shows. She started booking things, and then her and her, she got married, and their business started taking off, and she's like, I have to sort of let the artist thing go, and she didn't have time for everything, and she's incredible, and recently was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which has been a huge journey, and she has just taken it head on with the horns. And I remember the day she rang up and said that the results came in, and she said, yeah, well, I've got it. And I take a breath, because I would have been on the floor in a pile in the corner just going, for goodness sake. But not her. She's just, well, got it. Anyway, so it's not going to kill me. I'll die with it. Let's get on with it. And headstrong, reminds me of someone, changed her entire lifestyle. She still needs to sleep more, because she's currently out on the street with the kids, helping them busk, being the support. Come on, kids. And she's just a go-getter. Still jogs and to keep fit, and her diet's changed for an MS diet to, tackle things. Incredible. So she continues to be an inspiration, and she is like, she should be the one on the couch. She's the one that I just...
Well, maybe we'll do that.
Yeah. Then she tells some truth. I'd have to word her up to not talk.
Oh, darn it. We could have got her here. We definitely need all afternoon for that.
Yeah, that's right.
Fabulous. Another question, yes.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years, please?
Oh, I just hope to
Older.
see. Definitely older, yes. I would love to still be on radio, because the ABC is an ever-changing being. Still making music. I'd like to have finished my album and have that been out, and my mate's album with Bennett Botel Urquhart, with Lynn Botel, Kevin Bennett, have another one of those out.
Yep.
And also perhaps have our kids a little further down their musical journey too, and I would love to be a little roadie to take them to some gigs on their own. 5 years, that would be, Tia would be, a teenager then, well and truly. So that'd be lovely, and just as the family, just, really just as connected with my husband and mum and dad, enjoying their life and getting to do more travel. I'd like to,
And we hear a lot of people say these things, famous people say these things, we all watch famous people interviews, but I know for absolute sure you totally mean that. That family is number one for you, and you've made some sacrifices because of that.
Yeah.
But if...
Well, no, I haven't.
Awesome.
Like, I haven't.
Could be seen as that though, right?
Well, no. Like, I mean, that little face here.
Yeah.
Like, that's it's so lovely to have parts of us, our family, our loved ones. Yeah. That's like, it's, no sacrifices, just great. Just the right choice.
Great. One more question. Do we have another one? Yes.
Yeah.
How do you stay so glamorous all the time?
Nobody ever asked me that.
But that, like, I mean,
because I'm in my gumboots half the time.
Because that I'm having a big old chuckle inside. That is very, very sweet. And well, look, my nan, I just always try to be the best version of myself when I leave home. If you're going for a job, you would always make sure you've done your hair and put your nice shoes on. That would be my nan. Make sure, you've done your hair, and you've, made an effort in some way, shape or form. And that just followed on with my mum and to myself and my sister. So I guess just be the best version of yourself on that day. Some days it's hard, you're drained on the kids, or you're cold, you've got a flu, or you've got something, or you've actually got a stinking headache, or you may have just... something, but you've got to go, okay.
The child's vomited on you before you leave, and you had to change the dress you'd planned.
Or your husband may have just said, oh, you're wearing that, are you?
Might just be checking for bulges.
Yeah. Oh, you're going with that choice today. And then then you go, really? I thought, oh, no, it's fine. I don't like the fine answer. So so you still go, oh, okay, well, this is the best version. And I'm in me. So I think we all have to be the best versions of ourselves on that particular moment of that day and run with it. So that's very sweet of you to say. And I'll tell my mum, she'll think that you're being very sweet.
Here we are. This is Merelyn and Felicity talking now, right?
Okay.
You know what Dave said to me the other
No.
day, right? Bought this little black number.
Oh,
Some of these heard this. I told this
Yeah.
story the other day. But for the podcast, right, this is legit what happened. Up in Queensland, he was having brekkie, found a lovely little hemp clothing shop, bought a little black number,
Nice.
thought it was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Did you buy it and wear it out of the shop?
No,
Oh, okay.
but it had it in my bag. And as
I've
we're
done that
walking,
before, though.
yeah. Oh,
Purchased
right.
and gone, can I leave it on?
No, I wanted to wear it that night.
Uh-huh.
So walk past the shop. Dave goes, oh, that's a nice dress. I go, oh, that's the one I got. Awesome. Thinking I'm going to be pretty good. I'm in here. $80 dress, right? So I needed to be all right.
Yeah.
Get to the gig, put it on, do my little twirl. What do you think? And he's like,
Oh, you did the face.
you did the face. And then I had to ask the question, right? Why did I ask the question? Just before the gig. I go, what's the matter? He goes, I'm just checking for bulges. Dave!
Checking. That's not the right way. Just checking everything's in place, babe. Just checking
Making sure the granny undies are
Just
working.
turn around.
No lines.
Show me the full look. Let me have a full look at that. Oh, you look gorgeous. We need to train them or something. I don't know.
Oh, 21 years this year. I think I'm over the training. I laughed. Back to the resilience.
Yeah.
You have to have it in every aspect of life.
You do.
Don't you?
Yes.
So we're going to wind up in a minute with the song.
Yes.
And but before we do,
Yes.
you may ask me any question you like.
Okay. Well, I know you've had a big roundabout with a speed hump right on the edge of the roundabout, followed by a change of tyre. And
The exhaust blowing out and falling off into the road.
yeah, that whole thing. So
Yeah.
you got on the phone and called NRMA or RACQ. What's the Victorian one?
RACV
RACV.
for Victoria. Sorry if it's that confusing.
Yeah, it is very confusing for me. And, it's not just the phone call, it's multiple phone calls because this is a big change.
Yep.
And I want to know how you've been going, really, and because you're such a worker bee and you're like my sister that just gets in and deals with stuff. So I really want to know, what was it like when you had this massive thing come around and knock on your door and... Because things are going so well.
Yeah, well, you probably don't know the half of my year, really.
No,
So,
I don't.
just very quickly, brother had a major motorbike accident August the 6th, in hospital for 4 months, still in a wheelchair, thought he was going to lose his leg. Happened at the day of a barn concert. Some of these people were at a barn concert. Getting the phone call just before we're going on stage. He's not dead yet, but, Okay, so that was it. So that was traumatic. My mother, who was suffering from dementia, 85... went downhill very rapidly during that time to the terrible disease, to the point of not being able to go to the toilet or anything on her own. Upgraded her constantly to various higher levels of care, got her in the highest level of care. 2 weeks later, she just slipped off a chair, broke her hip, beginning of the end, never really recovered, died on December the 8th.
Yeah.
The day we found out Mum broke her hip was the day I was diagnosed with incurable blood cancer. And a few other things happened in there. Our house flooded. We had 9.5 inches of rain, and the water came down the conduit, and our mud brick wall collapsed. We're bailing. Dave and I are bailing 5 litres of water every minute for 12 hours before reinforcements arrived.
Goodness.
3:15 in the morning, and I wasn't feeling very well. 3:15 in the morning, David had been out. He was covered in water in the storm, trying to find out what was going on. And I said to him, you have to take over. I've got nothing left. So I go into bed. I said, I'll just be half an hour and I'll come back. Either that, I would just stuff it or let the house flood. Go to get on my bed, cat's vomited in my spot. This is what you got to do, right? Of course the cat's vomited there.
Right there.
Of course the house is flooding. What are we going to do? We're going to have a little bit of a laugh, because life goes by so quick. And I decided when my mum was diagnosed with dementia, because I watched her suffer through 10 years of her mum being in a nursing home with dementia. not knowing who she was. And my mum didn't know who I was at the end, and a long time before the end. And I went right back then when I was 14. I went, you know what? Life is so short that we can spend our time being sad about these potholes, and we can spend our time rocking in the corner, or we can have a little rock there and then get up and go, okay, what is my journey through this? And so when this diagnosis came through, I went, cool, it's not aggressive, it's not acute, I've got some time, how lucky am I? It's a rare form, how special am I? To get a rare form of blood cancer, because I actually now have the opportunity to document what I'm doing. And my daughter, who was doing a master's in haematology last year, we're documenting this natural road that we're taking.
Yeah, wow.
And she talks about it as her road too. Could be her Nobel Prize, you just never know. And I just thought, you know, everyone here has something hard that we're going through. And I think the really important thing is to go, yes, there are days when I go, okay, it's hard today, because we have to give up a bit of our career for a while. But then I think I could be lying in a bed somewhere. I could be suffering so much more. There are a lot of people out there who just need to hear, make the most of every minute you've got of life.
Stop it, you're going to make me cry.
Well, I don't want to make you cry because I want you to sing another song.
That's tricky now.
And then we might have a little bit of a jam, because Dave and I promised that we'd sing a song today too. And I'm wondering whether there's one that we might know together.
I was going to do one that
many songs together over the years.
I know, but because I've got a new one and it really suits your
do that.
jewellery and you, and I'd do it for the kids, but I think that you and I and us, we all live with a chain of joy around our hearts, goodness, and so I thought this would be nice to do. And I just wish you the best.
Thank you.
You know that?
Vice versa.
Yeah. All right. You'll get the hang of the chorus anyway.
Oh, no, you sing this one, and then we'll do one.
I know, but you still can get the hang of it.
Okay.
You can't be just sitting there and not working.
Okay, all right.
You'll get a handle of it. Wear a chain of joy around your heart. Wear a chain of joy around your heart. Link by silver link will circle right back to the start. Wear a chain of joy around your heart. Dig yourself a hole and jump on in. Dig yourself a hole and jump on in. If it rains, it pours, no less, no more. It's a good day for a swim. Dig yourself a hole and jump on in. Blue, 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 underneath the sky of blue. It's you and me forever and blue, blue, blue. If there's one thing I know it's true, it's you and me forever and always. You go on, cry, baby, cry. You go on and cry, baby, cry. Till the river runs deep and it's clear and it's sweet and the fish are jumping high. You go on and cry, baby, cry. Blue, 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 underneath the sky of blue. It's you and me forever and blue, blue, blue. If there's one thing I know it's true, it's you and Dave forever and always. All right, this is the bit you can sing. Wear a chain of joy around your heart. Here we go. Everyone, wear a chain of joy around your heart. And try it again. Wear a chain of joy around your heart. Link by silver link. Link by silver link. We'll circle right back to the start. Yeah. Wear a chain of joy around your heart. Oh, you got it. And again, and again. Wear a chain of joy around your heart. Wear a chain of joy around your heart. Link That's right.
Woo! Felicity Urquhart, commonly known as Fliss to those of us who know and love you.
Or short circuit. Electricity circuit. Well, not that short, but just because so many people have trouble saying Urquhart because there is Urquhart. No. So we go electricity circuit helps people remember.
Right.
And but just Fliss.
Fliss, you are an ordinary angel.
Oh, I need
Thank
to
you.
You're so sweet.